This is Keep the Faith Ministry News. I'm Hal Mayer. A war may be brewing within the United States, almost a third of voters say in a poll. Amid widespread political polarization on issues like immigration and recent public confrontations of Trump administration officials, 31% of probable U.S. voters surveyed said they think it's likely that the United States will experience a second civil war sometime in the next 5 years. Democrats at 37% were slightly more fearful of a second civil war than Republicans at 32%, the poll from Rasmussen Reports found. And while more than half thought it was unlikely the U.S. would see a second civil war soon, 59% of voters were still concerned that opponents of President Donald Trump's policies would resort to violence. During former President Barack Obama's second year in office, a similar 53% of voters thought those who did not support his policies would turn to violence. The poll also found 53% of voters were worried that those critical of the news media's Trump coverage would become violent. Trump administration officials, including White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, and White House advisor Stephen Miller, have faced public confrontation from political opponents protesting the immigration policy and others. The survey by Rasmussen Reports polled 1,000 likely U.S. voters from June 21 to June 24 with a sampling error of 3 percentage points. Meanwhile, U.S. Representative Steve King, Republican from Iowa, fears another Fort Sumter is in our near future. America is heading in the direction of another Harper's Ferry, the controversial conservative tweeted. After that comes Fort Sumter. King's tweet linked to an article from the conservative online news site PJ Media about a group of protesters who were staging an Occupy-style campout in front of an immigration and customs enforcement holding facility in Portland, Oregon. Harper's Ferry, Virginia was the site of an 1859 raid on a federal armory led by militant abolitionist John Brown. Brown's attack was aimed at sparking a massive slave uprising, and the violent act helped push the divided country towards civil war. King's concern that the U.S. could be heading for another violent internal conflict has been echoed by many voices in recent days after two administration officials were driven from restaurants because of opposition to their political views. A call from Representative Maxine Waters, Democrat from California, for activists to ramp up such harassment has further fueled concern that civility in American politics has eroded. King himself has a history of remarks that have been criticized as inflammatory, divisive, and racist. A new civil war will certainly have racism mixed up in it as well as economic issues. A bad economy always leads to unrest that can at times become violent, and certainly would in today's polarized America. The moneyed men, because they have the power, control the market. They purchase at low rates all they can obtain and then sell at greatly increased prices. This means starvation to the poorer classes and will result in a civil war. There will be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation. That's Manuscript Releases, Volume 5, page 305. This is Keep the Faith Ministry News. Thank you for watching.